It sounds.
Well, hello. Welcome to the Medicare Space Lab. We're back. We are back and not feeling. Well, man, we're like back in black. Why are we all wearing black?
We coordinated our outfit.
Are we mourning the
end of 2022.
Hey, you're not even on. Go.
We're mourning the end of 2022.
Oh, well, okay.
We're saying goodbye
Why are we mourning it?
because it's over.
It's over.
That's
We
what
can't
you do
go
when
back.
everything's over.
Dun, 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 dun.
Well, apparently we're mourning the loss of 2022.
I'm not, but
I'm just like
I just wear black all the time.
I know. I wear
Yeah,
black
I
all the
do too.
time.
I was shopping the other day. I bought this really nice black shirt, blouse,
Uh-huh.
and then I went home and I have another one exactly like it, exactly identical.
You're like,
Real-
oh my god, I really like this shirt, and you're like, oh crap,
Yeah.
now I know I like it because I have one just like it at home.
I know the black
Good
pants.
morning. Good
I do that all
morning,
the time.
Josie. Beautiful ladies. Love you. We are back. We are back. Well, we're going to try to be back as much as we can Fridays at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you so much for joining in. Make sure if you are listening in, put your questions, comments. Let us know that you're here with us listening in. We're back to be on. I know we've been really busy. We kind of stopped the show because it was we're always busy all year long, but the busy season is during the annual enrollment period, and it also lands on the holidays.
Uh-huh.
So that being said, we're back. So what's new with you guys? What's your, now that it's we're midway in through January, what are you guys up to? Are y'all living up to your New Year's Eves? You're shedding white hair, Sylvia, everywhere.
I'm sorry. I cannot help that. Y'all need to brush like the dogs. So y'all just brush
I'm the
them
same
when I
way
get to
too.
work.
I'm the same way too. I shed
Yes.
horribly.
But mine, you can see it more because it's white.
If you're
Black,
listening in, let us know in the comments what you've been up to for 2023. We're only about 13 days in.
That's
What
right.
have you guys been up to? Are y'all working hard or hardly working? What's going on?
A little bit of both. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. A little bit of work, a little bit of both. Back at the senior center, I worked in Comel this week, and just a lot of service calls, a lot of
Yeah.
just plans issues, not really issues, but just things that every year they change the insurance, and a
Mhm.
lot of times they don't know what they're getting, or they haven't gotten their card. A lot of the plans have consolidated their 2-3 cards into one, so that has confused people.
Yep.
It confused me because they're calling me and I'm telling them, call the insurance, and tell them that you need a new card, and come to find out that they've already got the card.
Yep.
And so I'm calling them, telling them, give them another one, and they've already received it. So because we didn't know, every year they change things. And so it's good to have an agent.
Yep.
I have one client at the senior center yesterday.
Hold on. Are you talking with that cough drop in your mouth?
Perhaps.
Okay, because we just talked about this yesterday.
What are we talking about?
We
What
don't
did we
know.
talk?
Only Adriana knows a Heimlich.
Oh, that's true.
So you're gonna have to save Sylvia's life if she chokes on that damn cough drop.
Yeah, she's the only one.
I'm a cert just expired that.
And if she needs it, well, too bad. Nobody knows how
Okay,
to
carry
do it.
on as long as you don't choke on that cough drop.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get ready just to get
You get in position.
I'm in position. While you're back there, can you massage my back?
Oh my god!
Yeah.
You
Anyway,
know how Adriana feels about her personal space. Why are you getting all up in her personal space?
I'm okay. I don't mind
Too
her.
bad.
Yeah.
She's used to be now.
Okay, so
Yeah,
carry
that's
on.
true.
So the clients are having issues.
And then they signed up with Joe Smith on the phone, and
Uh-huh.
they can't get a hold of Joe Smith on the phone. It's like,
Yeah.
this is why.
I
So,
told
you
you
know,
not to do that.
So if you're watching, how many of you are getting nervous for Sylvia? Chewing on her little thing there.
so her
So
lozenge.
I can't get rid of this horrible cough.
wait, is it your daughter's birthday today?
Tomorrow?
Oh, tomorrow. So
Oh,
is your
okay.
daughter, if Stephanie is listening out there, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. She's 25.
She's 25.
I thought she
young
didn't look a day over
spring chick.
25. Yeah.
Mhm.
So Sylvia's been dealing with a lot of service issues with her clients and going out there in the community already, getting back into it. Did you take any vacation while you were out? Or?
Yeah, I took, a couple of days off at home, just hanging out with my brother. And yesterday was his birthday.
Ooh, happy
So-
birthday, bro.
Just at home, just hanging out with my brother, my animals, and just, doing stuff around the house.
So-
Nothing. I go next week. I won't be here next Friday because we're going to Nashville for Valerie's birthday. Her birthday is next Thursday. So there's about 8 of us going out there.
Nice.
Girls
So,
trip.
What are y'all
girls
gonna
trip.
do? What do y'all do in Nashville? Nothing.
Drink.
Just
Up
drink.
to no good.
Drink.
There was a little bit of hesitation
She's
there.
like, I don't know.
Desiree was saying about that bicycle
Uh-huh.
where you ride the bicycle and you're drinking.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh,
we're
yeah.
gonna do that. We're gonna go to Graceland, but it's 3 hours from where we're staying. So we're kind of debating if we're gonna go because 3 hours going and then back.
yeah.
So
Unless you
That's a
take a
lot.
party bus.
Oh,
That's true.
that's a good one right there.
so we rented 2 vans because there's so many of us. So I don't know if everybody's gonna go or
Are y'all road tripping there?
no, we're flying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're flying. Hopefully.
And how about you, Adriana? What's been going on since you had taken a couple of weeks off at the end of the year? What have you been up to?
So kind of similar to her with a lot of those. I'm getting a lot of calls from my clients too about their cards and things like that. But yeah, so I took some time off to spend time with my family, which it was much needed. So thank you for that. Then I was perfect the whole 2 weeks. And then I come back to work and my husband calls me at 4:00 in the afternoon and tells me that Maddie has the flu. So I was like,
Well, let's preface this because she's at work, right? And she's like, and granted, Adriana never, ever, ever gets sick. And if she does not show it. And
I hide it
she's
really
like,
well.
and
She
I'm
goes,
like,
I've never heard you cough like that.
and I'm like,
before."
are you okay? You're kind of coughing out of the norm. I hear Sylvia coughing like that all the time, but I'm just like, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. And she's making like hundreds of calls like normal. And she's like, and I'm like, okay. And then I was just prefacing it with that. Go ahead.
So he calls me and he tells me she has a flu. So I felt horrible because I come into the office and I'm exposing all these people to the flu. And I'm like, Victoria's like, okay, maybe you should go home and take care of your baby. And I'm like, well, that's what Lorenzo's for. He can take care of her. I'm horrible. I was thinking about this like days later. I'm like, horrible, right? Oh, she'll be fine. It'll be fine. Well, I had that cough. I had a headache and then my chest was hurting. So my husband was like, you need to go to the doctor. So I went to the doctors and I had like the early symptoms of the flu. So they started me on Tamiflu and I started taking it. So I got better sooner than, it took me not as long to like recover, which was great. My daughter was out for a whole week. Then the middle daughter, Alyssa, she came down with something. So thank God it's been Lorenzo and Brooke that are like the last one
healthy ones.
The last
standing.
one standing. That's so funny.
Did somebody get strep throat?
No, well, that was in my extended family.
Okay.
Somebody had got. So I don't know if we had hosted like a party of like germs at our house for New
I
Year's.
like that. I'm having a germ party this weekend at my house.
Because
Oh.
everybody ended up, but nobody had the same thing, which is so weird. So I'm like, okay, whatever.
It's
But
like a parting gift.
Yeah. I was like, hey guys, come here. Let me give
You want strep though? You want flu?
Yeah.
You want a viral infection?
What can you tolerate more?
So it's been, I've had, and I drank way too much for New Year's. So I was sick for like 2 days. So I've kind of had like this slow coming back. I'm like slowly getting back into it. I told Desiree, I'm like, I cannot get up to save my life. I used to get up at 5:15 every morning to work out. I can't get up to save my life.
Yeah.
So I'm like trying to get back. I told Lorenzo I just need a good kick in the butt. Like
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
reset.
So
button.
needless to
Reset.
say, you were almost off for about 3 weeks
Altogether?
Yes.
2
Yeah,
weeks
it
and then
was
came back,
horrible.
worked a day or two,
Yeah,
right? And then left again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but I'm here. The whole time I did answer my clients' calls when they called me. I was in bed one day and my client called me and I was like, I'm actually out of the office and sick. I'm out with the flu. And he was like, oh yeah, I had it last week too. And on going on. And I was like, okay, I should be back by Monday, but yeah,
And they want to talk.
yes, they want to talk. But no, I mean, I think for us, that's the good thing about us. Well, is that we always really are here for our clients. But of course, kind
Mom,
of leading into a good segue is kind of establishing those boundaries, right? Like with your clients, letting them know who to go to for certain things and kind of being like, hey, I may not be able to help you with it right away. Cause it's not necessarily if I'm out of the office, it's if I'm on the phone with another client.
Yeah.
I'm not ignoring you. I always tell them that. I'm like, look, if you call me, I don't answer, it's because I'm on the other line with another client.
Yeah.
So kind of helping them, setting them up for success to know like, hey, if you can't get a hold of me, I would say this is a good time to call the insurance company.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with one of my clients the other day because she was like, I feel bad. Like I bother you all the time. Is there somebody that can come to my house all the time? And I said, I had to be really, really careful how I said it because I wasn't trying to be rude or crude or like short with her. I'm like, there's nobody that's going to go to your house every time you have an issue.
No.
So I think it's just a matter of like helping them know, okay, what's a question that can wait and it's not super urgent, and what is something that you can possibly call the insurance companies for?
Yeah. When they call me, because I have my cell phone all the time, I know it's harder for you because you have a landline. And I always tell them, I'm busy, I'll call you back, or text me if you need something. And I've come to realize that when I do that, they'll take the initiative to call the insurance company instead of waiting for me to call them. So I think, through the years, my clients have gotten a little bit more savvy with the computer and have become more independent.
Because there's a lot of things they can do through the
on
phone.
their own now. And before, they would depend on me or get scared or whatever. And now I see them working on their own and doing things independently, which is good. So if I tell them I'll call him back, when I do call them, they're like, oh, I already called so-and-so and I got it resolved and I do this and that. So,
That's good.
it's making them independent.
Yeah.
So,
My mom said one thing to mention about insurance is that if they wait for the last days of the year to use their eyewear and then change their mind about them, the insurance will not reinstate the last year's benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Without that's a great thing. I've never really thought about that. That's good. Use it early in the year. So what she's saying is that if I went to get my glasses in December and I'm not happy with them and I want to switch them out, you're not going to gain those benefits back.
especially if they moved insurance.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a great tip. I like that. Let me post that here. Yeah, I mean, the thing is we're in a technology age, so we're used to getting information at speeds like really, really fast. And unfortunately, the insurance companies are trying to like get better. I mean, we do see them evolving with now we can print off some carriers allow us to print off their insurance cards. There's still some wonkiness with that though too. There's only so much that
and we can mail them now.
Yeah, we can send it to them. So they're trying to put a lot of things where we can help people faster. But like Adriana was saying, like there's only so much within our power, right? Now, if the insurance company is never answering, I mean, obviously that's what you have an agent for. And that's why I was actually, we do this webinar every Tuesday, Medicare 101 webinar. And one thing we mentioned in the webinar is that when you sign up with Medicare.gov, it's the same plan. Like in essence, if you're working with a local agent, we're not charging any more for those plans. Like we're not legally allowed to do that. So if you get a plan in Medicare.gov and you purchase the same plan through us, it's the same thing. It's like it's not, you're not paying any more or any less is what I was trying to say. So when you use an agent, you're just getting that level of service. Now, not like we always say, not every agents are the bomb like us, right? There are a lot of awesome agents that are my friends out there that are, but just make sure that when you're having that conversation, just write down your questions and ask your agent. But also don't expect us to go to your house for every single little thing either.
That's just like, impossible.
That's like nobody's going to do that. Right?
I think and that's an unrealistic expectation because I don't care how good of an agent you are. I don't think that's a realistic standard you should set.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not trying to say that we don't help. We do help. We do, I think, a lot more than a lot of other agents do, in my opinion, because I know people who say they call their agents, they never get a call back from them.
Right.
So for me, it's just about letting them know because, I do have some clients that need a little bit more help than others. And some of them are like, oh yeah, I'm good. I'm fine. I don't need anything. I'm good. I don't have any questions. Everything's great. And so I think it's more so people that are coming off of group insurance because they are thinking it's going to be similar experience than with their group insurance. And then I think to myself, how did they handle that? Like, were they calling their HR department all the time?
No,
Or,
we
you
don't.
know,
I don't
it's
even
like,
know
They
where to call.
become dependent on
yeah.
us,
So
you
I
know?
think it's just about setting those expectations early on and being
The
like,
boundaries.
absolutely, I'm here to help you. There are some things that I unfortunately can't handle, but here's what I can do.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm, mhm.
So kind of just doing that. I've learned that because, I tell them, I'm like, yeah, call me whenever. Call me whenever.
she's on a beach. She's
I'm
on a beach with a
and,
pina colada.
Yeah, and I'm getting a call. So
And well, I will say this about you. Hey, Shirley, thank you. We love you too. Shirley, my BFF over there. With Adriana, we'll be out. Like, I'm like, let's close the office early, go have some appetizers and drinks and stuff. And then, like, she's the only one answering her phone. I'm like, God, me and Desiree Sylvia are like, really?
I'll call you back. I'll
She's
call
like,
you
hold
back.
on, gotta take this.
I think for me, because I don't like to leave stuff lingering. So I like to address things right away. I want to take care of it. But I think also people take advantage of that, right?
Yeah.
They see that you're good at something, so they're like, "Oh, let me call her for this," and then let me call her for this, and then let me call her for that.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is that I don't have just one client. I have a lot of clients, so I have to be able to help all of them. And then we have new clients coming in, so that's why I have to learn that healthy balance of like, hey, I think it's a good idea if you run into this issue, probably reach out to the insurance company first, and then give me a call, and we can figure out.
And we rarely how do I say it? We rarely say we can't help them.
Correct. But it's very rare.
Very seldom.
Unless it's something we literally can't, like, we can't help with. We can't process claims. Like, that's the insurance company, right? Or like, we can't get you a pre-authorization. We can call them and help run that through. I don't know. I can call Victoria if she's on a beach having pina coladas. Jessica, hey Jessica, good to know. Yeah. So I mean, all we're saying is, like, don't stop at your agent, because if it's really something, like, we've seen people wait till the last minute to get something done. And when I'm like, there's certain, that 800 number has a lot of power. And yeah, sometimes, I'm not going to lie, the customer service is not always great with certain carriers. And one thing that we do when we're signing you up for insurance, we always make you aware of the company you're signing up with and the pros and the cons. And the reason why is we're not going to make it seem like this is a great company, you're getting all these benefits, because we know some of the carriers don't have their what's together. And we just want to make sure that you're aware of that.
Right.
So if you're willing, it's like we always say here, it's always a give and take. You're always giving something to take something. It's never going to be the perfect plan. And so when you're taking a lot more benefits, when you're seeing these huge amount of benefits out there, and then the company is really new, we're going to tell you it's a newer company. You may experience some service issues. In fact, you may experience getting access to your benefits because the vendors are not talking to each other. There's a lot of factors involved. So we tend to like to work with the big reputable companies, although we still offer some of the smaller ones. But we could tell you right off the bat who are the ones that we don't typically write often, because we just run into too many experiences.
And I think they know that themselves, because a lot of times they'll call me and they'll say, so-and-so company, and they're horrible. And I'm like, yeah,
I told you.
I know.
Yeah, that's what I do. I tell them right off the bat.
Someone's like, I told you so.
I do.
Told you, girl.
When I'm with the client, or they'll call me, I want this plan because I saw it on television, and I tell them, yeah, it's a great company. They have great benefits, but it's a new company, and I know from experience, because I hear the complaints from other people, that a lot of visions, they're not taking it, or dentists, because they're new. Maybe in a year or so they're going to be great plans, but right now they don't have the contracts that the big 5 major insurance do. So you are going to be limited, to certain doctors. They might not be in your area, compared to the other ones. And if you call them, they might not answer as well as the other ones. So I always let them know. And when they adamant about signing and they have issues, they'll call me. That's the first thing you say. I know you told me, but complain. I'm like, I told you, but live and learn. It's just trial and error.
Yeah. And the good news is that it's not like we there's always usually a solution to the problem. So it's
Mhm.
just a matter of just getting with that person. Don't let it linger longer than what it needs to be. One thing I do want to address though is the changes for 2023 to the Medicare cost,
Mhm.
the Part B deductibles, the Part B premiums. Last year the Part B premium was around $170, and that was a really big increase from
Mhm.
what it was previous year. So it was the highest increase that they saw. So this year, what happened was they brought it down. I believe it's $164
It's
and
90 cents.
$164.90.
$164.90. Can you tell that I haven't been on the phones a long time because I got to look at them to make double check, right? $164.90 for the Part B premium. Now, keep in mind that's the standard Part B premium. That's not what you would pay if you're higher income, right? Because then that's when Irma would kick in.
I had a client call me. They're telling me something about this Irma.
I don't know who she is.
I have to pay $300, but I didn't work last year. But the year before, he worked and made a lot of money, sold his house, and so he's like, they're saying it's Irma. And then I told him what it was. He's like, okay, I thought they were trying to scam me. I'm like, no, it's not a scam. It's an actual thing. It's going to be going on for 2 years. It's going to be your responsibility after 2 years to call them and have them relook at the numbers again so they can lower it down to the regular, whatever it's going to be next year. Because they'll just continue billing you at the 3 something.
Yeah.
And they
you
don't
know?
send them a notice, do they?
Oh, no. Well, they'll send them a notice that they have to pay this amount now. Like he
But
got
they
the
won't
letter.
send them a notice like your 2 years are up.
Oh,
You're
no.
paying $300
Yeah,
in
no.
premiums.
I told you I had that senior that had paid it
That was
for
paying for
5,
like
6
five-
years,
uh-huh.
5, 6 years, and he was paying close to $500. But he lived in, not that it mattered, he lived in California, had a really higher income, and then retired. But he had already been retired for over 5 years, and he just thought that's how much the Part B was.
And they won't give that amount back to him, right?
And so we were talking one day at the senior center, and he said, I'm already paying so much. I'm like, well, you're 170 because it was last year. He's like, no, I pay 4 something, close to 5. I'm like, why? He's like, because that's what they've always been charging me. I just thought, I'm like, no, you got to call them, tell them. And so he did. He called me back. He was so happy. He's like, he was ecstatic. He's like, I can't believe that I just paid this amount for all these years and nobody ever told me. I just thought everybody paid the same amount because nobody ever talks about, they
Nobody
take it out of
does.
your check in the middle of the night. Nobody even knows.
So that's funny
You know?
because nobody talks about that, but everybody talks about what plan they have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, let's start from the
Because they do it out of their check. So a lot of times they start their Medicare, their Social Security and their Medicare. So they don't even see that money coming out. Like they'll tell me they're not taking it out. And I'll look in the system. It's like, yes, they're taking it out. They're like, oh my God. All this time.
It sucks too, because, when you're retiring age, it's not, the Social Security amount that you're going to get is not like what you think it's going to be, right? It's like, what? I could have sworn I was going to get more. And then here they take, $160 or $300 or sometimes
like
depending.
So the issue
like,
I've had in since the beginning of the year is that, yes, it's great. They're getting an increase of 8%, but on some of my clients, it's pushing them over the limit for Medicaid. So I've already had 3 clients that right away, they got the notice saying they're dropping them from helping them with their Medicare savings program and the Q&B. So they've got to get off the dual on the plans and just go to a basic plan.
Yeah, and let's talk about that because people that are on SLMB, QMB, or MQMB, or SLMB plus, there are certain insurance companies that will allow them to be on what's called a dual special needs program. We call them DSNP, DSMP. And when you lose those benefits, there's a system that we can check to verify your Medicaid status and what level you're at, right? And if your level is not there, let's say it's inactive and you're no longer SLMB, QMB, SLMB plus, MQMB. It usually happens more. I see it with the SLMB plus and QMB because they didn't renew and they're kind of like right at that line. If it shows inactive in the system, you have a grace period to get off of that Medicare Advantage plan that you have. But if you keep the Medicare Advantage plan, the dual SNP plan, when you don't in fact qualify for it, what's going to happen is when you go to the hospital and you're going to be you're going to be on the hook for the Part A deductibles.
Yeah.
And so when you're responsible for all the co-pays and all of the deductibles that are related to the 20%. So you have to, so some people are like, no, I've had this D-SNP plan. I'm not getting rid of it. I get zero everything. Yes, but because it's showing inactive in the mark system, you no longer qualify for it. So next time, they will catch it eventually.
Yeah.
And if you don't downgrade, well, I would say not downgrade plans, but in essence, you're kind of like having to downgrade,
right?
Meaning to go to a plan that's a non-dual SNP plan that has fixed copays. People are not used to that transition, but what you need to do is you need to reapply. And if you don't qualify, then it's just what it is. It's either you go and you get blindsided with higher bills, or you just go on the regular Medicare Advantage plan and get just pay the smaller copays. So.
Right. And I haven't gotten the new 2023 numbers. So
for SLMB and QMB?
Yes, for all of that.
So
I think it come out probably at the end of the month or the beginning. So they've called me. I've had a couple of people call me because they're getting this increase and they know that they just barely made it. And so they're calling me for the numbers. I'm like, they'll notify you if you're over the amount. And it was crazy because in the first week of January, I went to my first clients. They took off, got a letter saying you no longer qualify. And it was only like $20 more, but $20 is, they will, so she went from the dual to just, it's a good plan, but there are copays.
Yeah. So let's go back to the Part B premium. So Part B premium is going to be $164.90. The Part A deductible for 2023 is going to be $1,600, and the Part B deductible for 2023 is going to be $226. This is really not relevant. It's irrelevant to you. I mean, it's always relevant to you, but it's irrelevant if you're on a Medicare Advantage plan, because remember, Medicare Advantage is a replacement. So you've never seen those deductibles or anything like that. But if you're on a Medicare supplement, most likely you're on a G or an N. If you're on an F, great. But if you're on a G or an N, that Part B deductible is always relevant, because that's the amount that you're going to have to pay. Typically, that's the amount you have to pay before everything else is kicked in at 100%. So we actually, for 2023, it was good. It went down. Most paid things went down except the Part A deductible. Part A deductible went up.
Yeah, that always goes up a little bit.
That always goes up. But Medicare, I think what's happening, I mean, what's one thing, if you could tell the audience, and thank you so much, guys, for listening in. As gracious as you are, we're coming back finally, and I know that we lost a lot of our audience leaving, and y'all are hanging in there with us. Hung in there with us. What are some of the things that you guys noticed kind of in the third quarter of last year? What was happening in the insurance world, kind of like specific to Medicare? What did you see that was happening?
A lot of people were getting off their supplements.
Just like as a whole, a lot more compliant.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people staying put.
Well, so where I was going with that,
what I meant for you to say
there was a lot of changes that happened the third quarter of 2022 on the agent side. Okay. There was compliance, meaning we now have to record all of our phone calls.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And how that impacts the consumer is that all of your calls are being recorded. So if you're doing any business on the phone, your agent, they're supposed to be recording all of the phone calls, especially if they're going over benefits for a new plan, any type of benefit specifics, anytime you want to change your plan, those calls. Thank you, Tracy. See, Tracy said phone recording, the phone recording. And so how that impacts the client is that we honestly didn't get a lot of people. I don't think we
had one person curse at me.
One person cursed. Why are you recording the phone call? And it's understandable, because it's like, why are you recording? But everybody records phone calls.
Everybody records. I was talking to a friend. She's working at an architect company. She just moved from one to another one. And she said that all their phone calls are recorded. And
Mhm.
so when anybody calls or she calls anybody, is recorded. We're talking about the insurance, how now she's like, I couldn't believe it. We're an architect company. I don't understand why they're
Which
recording.
I feel
But
like it really
covers-
Victoria talked about this a lot, and people, a lot of bunch of crybabies, like really crybabies.
That's
like,
not what you said.
It was a lot of crybabies, a lot of agents complaining because the calls had to
Yeah.
be recorded. I'm like, why wouldn't you want your calls to be recorded unless you weren't being compliant?
Yeah.
Because honestly, for me, I'm like, it covers me.
Mhm.
It protects me as an agent. If my client comes back and says, well, no, she didn't go over this, or no,
Yeah.
she didn't say this. And I'm like, no, I did. Let's go back and listen to the recording.
Yeah. That saved our
Mhm.
butt probably a few times during the annual enrollment.
Like, why wouldn't you want, what are you hiding?
Yeah.
well, it's
What
not
are
so
you
much-
afraid?
It could be that, and it also could be that just inconvenience, like, I gotta record this phone call. Oh, I forgot to do that. But if you have the proper systems in place, like, I think it's really hard for us not to record our phone calls, to be honest, because all of our phone systems have recording capabilities, like our
Mhm.
voice over IP, our CRM, heck, even our cell phones are connected to our voice over IP system. So everything that we do, unless it's a personal call, don't worry, friends.
I'm not
being
recording our
recorded.
phone calls.
You are being recorded right now.
Our text messages are being
However,
recorded.
if they accidentally call my CRM, or like if they get forwarded to my voice over IP,
I will
Oh, yeah.
record
then
it.
it'll record that phone call.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
I should start doing that. Maybe I should start calling people from my voice over IP. Like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I think it's just something different. And so sometimes when it's new things
yeah,
coming,
but you've been doing
know?
it for a long time, and you didn't complain about it.
No,
you
I'm
didn't
saying
cry about
like,
it.
like the new people, the ones that are complaining, that the ones that are not adjusting, that are afraid, they're like,
Yeah, but
it's something new to them. That's what I'm thinking. Aside from the fact that they're probably doing something wrong. And another thing, they're not equipped. With Victoria, she has the latest technology. She's taught us all how to do
The
it.
latest and greatest.
The greatest everything. So we can go in here and we know that any changes that are made by Medicare, Medicaid, we're going to be on top of it. She's going to be on top of it.
What
and
was
so
the
we're not
disclaimer?
afraid of
The
that.
disclaimer too that we have to read.
Yeah,
now too, to
we
them.
have a disclaimer. I
Yeah.
was telling an agent about the disclaimer. She's like, the what? And I'm like,
Wow.
we have to read it. We're on the phone. And she had no idea what a disclaimer. I mean, she knew what a disclaimer was, but that she had no idea that now if
That's
she's
kind of
making
scary.
phone
If you
calls.
think about it.
well, it just puts a little. I mean, I get the frustration on both sides, but I also don't. It hasn't affected us at all. And in fact,
I don't think there was any frustration on our
No, business
end.
as usual.
business as usual. Yeah, so that was one thing, and the other thing was the disclaimer. So what we're seeing, whether you're an agent or whether you're a Medicare beneficiary listening in, what's happening is we're seeing a lot more rules and regulations being in place specifically to Medicare, because and there's fair reason, and of course we don't like more rules because it makes our job a lot harder. But
Mhm.
in essence, I do like it because it does weed out a lot of the bad people, not bad people, but people that don't necessarily like there's bad
shortcuts.
there's
They take a
agents
lot
that
of
take shortcuts.
shortcuts.
So I wouldn't say they're intentionally doing bad things, but they're doing things like shortcuts, and then it causes more problems for the clients. And it's just, I just see a lot of fishy stuff going on, and I get it. But for the client side, what's happening is there's a lot of these call centers out there, and not the ones that are the good ones, the ones that are like, they're like on these robo dialers, and they're just
Mhm.
like asking all these personal information without even talking to anybody. And it's creating a lot of confusion. And it's also creating a lot of problems when clients enroll into something and they don't remember doing it. They're like, I didn't know that I was enrolling into that plan. Or even agents, everybody blames it on the call centers. There's a lot of agents that I know that I could, if I go shadow you today, like if you allow me to shadow you today,
Mhm.
I can guarantee you're gonna be like, oh, like, what do I do?
I can name 2-3 agents off the bed, that I know they're not following the rules, and that's okay for them. That's on them. You can't tell other people. We're all independent. We all have choices. We all have our own rules that that we abide by, you know,
Mhm.
Morals.
our morals, our ethics, you know,
Yeah.
and I've always tried to be as ethical and diligently on working with my clients,
Mhm, mhm.
you know, on every aspect of my life, whether it's work or personal or business or whatever.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
just who I am. And if they start out agents, you know, a little shifty here and there, that's how they're going to continue till the end,
Well, it's
because
like
that's
one
how they were taught.
one
you
bad
know?
behavior precedes the other. So
Yeah.
therefore, like you're never doing anything right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
So it's just goes snowballs,
snowballs.
and you are now like this horrible agent.
Well, and then for the client side, you know, you just our goal and my mission now for 2023 and forward is to get the trust back to to put the trust back in the client, to trust the professionals more. I really want to try, and not that we do, because we have a lot of great clients, but I want to earn the trust back. I want to get all the trust back, so that way people are trusting agencies more and agents more. And because I feel like, I mean, we see it. We'll be talking a lot of skepticism out there.
Yeah.
Well, I had
lot
my
of-
client call me yesterday, and she was like, "Some man came to us from Humana." Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Human, beep.
From a certain carrier, right? Showed up to her house. Her and her husband and her are both my clients. And she tells me that this person started talking to them. And I said, you know, and I'm not gonna lie, I was like a little frustrated, because I'm like, what's going on? Like, it sounds to me like they're trying to change your plan.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was like, well, this medication is this much money. And I said, no, it's not. I said, it's the same amount on that option as it is on the one you're on. So that's a lie, first of all.
Mhm.
I said, and we both know that this doctor's on that plan. I said, so here's the thing. And I tell this to my clients now. I'm like, look, I recommend that you work with somebody. If you feel that I'm not giving you the value or the information that you need, then I recommend you work with somebody
Mm-hmm.
that is going to give you that.
Mhm.
I'm not going to beg you to be my client. I'm not going to be like, oh my God, don't leave me. Don't leave me. I'm going to say, who do you feel offers you the most value? Do you trust me? Do you believe everything I'm telling you? Are you trusting that I put you in the right option, the right plan for you? I went over everything with her, and she was like, well, I just wanted to make sure because I was really confused. And I said, well, here's the deal. I really truly believe this is an agent. Maybe he specifically works for that carrier because he said your husband was in a good spot. Or maybe he works for all the carriers. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I said, but it sounds to me like he's probably trying to move your plan. And we both know that your plan, all your doctors are in that plan. And she's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I know this, that, or the other.
Mhm.
And then she brought up a medical group. And I said, yep, that's a great medical group. But keep in mind that if you go with the medical group, you have to stay within that network of doctors.
Mhm.
And so she's like, well, no, I don't want to do that. And I said, so it sounds to me like that's what's going on.
Mhm.
I said, so just keep in mind
Uh-huh.
that they're going to try to change your plan. And that's what but he didn't change it. But he said this, that. And I said, okay. So at this point, he said he was going to go back to your house. And so it's those things like
Yeah.
these agents that are out there. And Desiree was here in the conversation. She goes, man, those agents out there, they're really desperate.
They are. Yeah.
And I'm like, why would you go and take somebody or make recommendations? She's like, he's going to come back to the house on Monday.
Because they're sales agents, and to them, that's a sale. They don't care if it stays on the books for 2 months. A lot of them get salary. And so even if they drop, it's not going to affect them.
And she goes, he's going to come back to the house on Monday. And I said, okay, well, let's do this. If it was a rep from the company who's possibly just doing this, that, or the other for them, I said, okay, great. So let's get him on the phone on Monday. When he shows up to your house, tell him you're going to have your agent get on the phone with you. I said, and let's see what he says.
Yeah.
And Adriana's like, I hear her, and she's like, let's get them on the phone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's right. That's right. Because that's how confident we are in our job, is that we know that we are doing the very best thing.
Yeah.
And there is half the time we are telling them stay exactly where you're at, or we run into other clients that are of our agent friends in the community that are not necessarily with us. We'll just say, yeah, no, you're good where you're at. Just give them a call, or just call this person back.
And I always tell them, if they come to you, like yesterday, I had a lot of clients saying they're calling me that I have to re-enroll in Medicare. Like, no, these are just, the calls scaring you to switch insurance.
Yeah.
But I tell them, if you hear about this great plan that is a lot better than what I put you on, call me and we'll compare them. You know, 99% of the time I sell all the plans in the area, the big plans, and we'll compare them. And if you feel that this is the best, then we'll move you. But remember, it's just not the dental, it's everything else, you know.
Yes, that's
And
another thing too.
I always tell my clients, yes, to me, an insurance is for the medical part. Yes, it's great to get the dental and the vision. But remember, if you go and move to an insurance because they give you, say, $2,000 for dental, but then you're going to be paying $275 for MRIs and another $300 for surgeries and $317 if you go in the hospital for the first 7 days, you're going to go through that $2,000 that you actually thought you were saving for the dental. So look at the medical part, because that's why you choose a medical plan to help you with your doctors and hospital and MRIs. All the other things are just little extras. And so once I tell them that, you're right. You know, I need it down the line for everything else,
Well, I
because
think
I'm
a
going to
lot
have
of
this and that done.
I think, and then what I tried to emphasize to her yesterday is that I know all of your information. Like I know all your doctors, I know all your medications. So yes, there might be a plan where the out of pocket's lower, but guess what? Your doctors are not a network. And there might be a plan where maybe this medication's less, but guess what? Your doctor's on a network. And so for us, we always paint this picture. I always tell them, like, what's most important to you? If you don't have a doctor, okay, then what's your medications? Okay, you don't take that. Okay, then let's look at the best plan that's in your area, and then that's gonna probably be the best option for you. But for people who have doctors and medications, it's a bigger picture, and that's what I was trying to tell her yesterday. Is like, look at the bigger picture. We made this decision, and I made this recommendation because this is what was best for you. And you know, and I always tell them, like, remember, I don't just work for one carrier. We work for all the major carriers. So we're making this recommendation based on that, not only the information that you gave me. Now, if that's changed and you want to explore other options, then absolutely let's take care of that for you.
And we're talking about the agents. A lot of it is the training, you know, who they work for. You know, yes, a lot of agents cut corners, but if they weren't properly trained, like in any job.
Well,
you know?
yeah, and that is very true. But I will say, I was just talking about this the other day with an agent friend of mine that has a ton of agents.
You offer a
They
ton
don't
of
train
training
you.
and none of them show
It
up.
don't matter.
Yeah,
there are agencies that there are agencies that don't always do a great job.
Yeah, that's the thing.
At the end of the day, 1099, if you're a 1099 agent, it's not your upline's duty to do your job. It's not your upline's fault that you didn't make sales. It's not your upline's fault that you didn't know. I didn't know that I had to record my phone
And so
calls.
many people
It's not your
blame
upline's
that
fault
upline.
that you don't do good, or I didn't know. It's your duty. If you want to put your big girl pants on or big boy pants on, it's your duty to do the work. It's your duty to go look. It's your duty to go study. It's your duty to go do AHIP. It's your duty to learn the carriers. It's your duty to show up. And so it's really frustrating when people use that as now, again, there are bad seeds out there and agencies that don't do great. But at the end of the day, that's your decision.
Because
you're
independent.
And that is in any industry. You're a real estate agent, you're a PNC agent, you are a Medicare agent, life insurance agent. Heck, if you work in a job, it's your duty to step up.
Yeah.
And I'm tired. I'm so freaking tired of people not taking accountability. Like, oh, woe is me. Woe is me. Like, I am just done. Like I tell y'all every time, I'm done. 2023, I'm done. Like, I'm not dealing with people that don't take accountability, that don't show up, that are not putting in the work. I'm just done. And we're going to help our clients, and we're going to do the best, and we're going to help as many people as we can. But at the end of the day, if the people are not doing, if the people are not showing up, there's only so much. Like Carmen's and I were having this conversation the other day. She's like, dang, like you have to be like, it's not just a one size fits all. You have to be like a different person to every single person.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it's not really, it's kind of, so I commend the agency owners out there that have thousands of agents that are dealing with this. because it's a lot of work. So if you're an agent out there blaming your upline that you didn't know this or didn't know that, it's not their job to do
What is
that.
it
Yeah,
that you say?
that's true.
Everything that happens to you is your fault.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Don't blame anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. That was my tough love.
That was your. This is Victoria's tough
and
corner.
it's true, especially working with Victoria. She gives us everything, all the help that we need. And so if anybody falls between the cracks or if anybody complains, it's on them. They have that opportunity to come and ask Victoria for help as to where other companies
Or
won't
there's
do
people that
other
ask for help
upline.
and get the help, and then they just
And
don't
then
do it.
yeah. That's happens way too
That's
often.
another problem too.
I don't
Yeah.
have a lot of patience like her. She has way too much patience.
I don't have patience. I don't have a lot of patience. Ask my family. I was the least patient person in my probably
Well,
the
you're
household.
patient with this crap.
Yeah, you're patient.
Yeah.
That's what my daughter tells me. I'm real patient with my seniors, but I'm not patient with anybody else. So I guess depending on who I'm patient with my seniors, you're patient with your downline because
You just,
that's
that's what you
that's
sign
your
up for.
job
Because
for,
you know
yeah.
what? At the end of the day, that's what I signed up for, and
Yeah.
that's what I got to deal with. But also when you're and if you're a client too, like, come on, take accountability.
Mhm.
Take accountability for your situation. It's not our fault that you waited till the 29th to call us for something, or it's not our fault that you waited the day before your 65th birthday and you want us to turn around everything like that. Now, there are agents going to promise the world. We're not like that, because
Yeah.
we know in reality that there's processes in place and things take time, and you got to sign up. There's paperwork you got to fill out. You got to call this particular Social Security and go through these steps. So I just want people for 2023 to hold themselves accountable for their actions.
It's the accountability year.
It's
Mhm.
accountability year. Just hold yourself accountable for your actions. Like, if you're
Well,
listening
if-
to this and have nothing to do with insurance,
If they're wondering
With
why they're still in the
anything.
same place,
mhm,
it's like to Lorenzo, right? I joke around with him. I'm like, don't complain to me about something you're not going to do anything about.
Yep.
Like, I can't sit here and complain about how much weight I've gained or this, that, or the other. I'm not going to
As
do
you're-
anything about it.
as you're
I'm
eating.
chips.
I'm over here drinking IPA beer. That's
Literally,
probably the worst.
The
to
other
drink.
day I was going on a whole rant about, I'm like, oh my God, I haven't been able to work out and I'm eating like crap. And I'm sitting in my bed eating chips. And he literally is looking at me, and that's how I know my husband loves me so much. He's like, yeah, babe, I know. And then I tell him about this meme that I saw about this lady that was like, after I had a mental breakdown, and she's like dancing in the kitchen, right, on my way to go get my cinnamon rolls out of the oven. After my husband heard me complain about mental breakdown, about being overweight. But for me, it's like, I can't complain about it if I'm not going to do nothing about
Yeah.
it. Like,
Uh-huh.
what are you complaining about?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's why I started my meals, and I feel like, okay, it's been the 5th day and I feel good. I'm feeling better.
They look good.
And
Yeah,
then I
they
have
look
all
really
my
Supplements over there.
supplements right there. And I get on, I get off, I get on, I get off, but there's only so much we can do. I know I was complaining to my spouse yesterday about some stuff, and then I'm getting annoyed at myself
For
Hearing you
complaining.
for
complain.
complaining. So everything I'm saying, I'm probably making this weird face like this.
You're like, why am I
Like,
complaining
I see those
about it?
faces
because I'm so annoyed at myself for complaining,
for being annoyed.
for being annoyed. Like, I'm annoyed at myself for being annoying, for complaining and venting, because I hate venting, even though it's needed,
Yeah.
because it's your own problem to fix.
Like, the answer. You just
I
gotta
know
do
the
it.
answer, so I just got to do the action, but we tend to not want to do the action.
But if I always see, yeah, you vent, but you always take care of it and you solve whatever problem you're venting. It would be different if you didn't take care of it. So I think you have to vent at some point. You
Yeah,
know?
I'm not saying you shouldn't vent. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
if you like are constantly
Yeah.
complaining about the same problem, like, I'm broke, I don't have any money, this, that, or the other. Well, girl, why don't you go down there and sell? Why aren't you selling? Like, why aren't you doing whatever it is that you got to do? It's like that kind of complaining, like where people
Yeah.
complain about their situation, but they do
And-
nothing to change it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And typically when I ask people, specifically that are in insurance, that are trying to build their company or build to pay their bills, build enough to pay their bills. And they're like, man, I don't know what's going on. And okay, I'm like, well, tell me what you're doing. Tell me what your week looks like. Let's go over that first. And and then I could tell because everything gets, and I'm like, well, that's the first problem is you have to have an action plan. Like if you're not waking up at a certain time every day, like if it's a different time every day, that's the first problem. Like I wake up, I was telling Zach, I think the other day we were talking and I was like, you know what? I wake up and sometimes I'm like, oh shit, I'm late. Oh, sorry. I said SHIT. I said, oh, I'm late. And I'm thinking like, but I like, because I try to get to the office at the very least by 9:30. Like on most days I try to get here 8:30, but 9:30.
She really does act like an employee. Let me tell you how much. So real quick, it was before Christmas, and it was like before the freeze, and she walks out on the floor, and she's like, "Gosh, oh my God, what if it snows in and we don't have to come to work?"
It's like, this is your office. You don't have to come to work.
Desiree look at each other and we're like, you know, you don't have to come in, right? Like you don't have to come in now. Like you're the owner.
Oh my God, that was funny. I had to say that cracked me up because I was like, because that was somebody, I think it was Tony or Merwin that posted like this thing where you could track the weather and it's like says it was gonna snow. And so I'm like, guys, like, and I was almost like whispering.
Yeah, she was.
Like, don't let the boss hear you.
Yeah, she did do that.
And so then Desiree and Adriana are looking at me like, they're looking at each other like, is she joking? Or is she like, oh, but I was so serious. I was like, guys, what if it freezes and then we could shut down? And like, because I just so wanted to shut down. And we shut down anyway for 2 weeks, right? We took a break.
It was right before Christmas.
We took a break.
It was a good break.
We needed the break. And because we work all year long. That's the thing. Like I said, hey, we're gonna take these 2 weeks off for the rest of the year. And we're going to come back strong because it's game time again, right? Starting January 1st. We start all over where most people will get their AEP checks or they'll get their big, that's pretty big, decent amount. And they
take the rest of the year off
and they'll take the next quarter off. And I'm just like, I personally can't do that. Well, there's only when I took off the 2 weeks, I was just like,
there was only so much you could do.
I was bored.
I was just cleaning stuff, fixing stuff,
cleaning and drinking. We have cocktail hour. I have cocktail at my house every day.
Cocktail hour. Everybody would show up to the living room at 12 o'clock.
Everybody's gonna show up at Sylvia's house.
I and my brother, we implemented cocktail hour during the holidays.
I love that.
So every day I get up, I obsessively clean. I'm always doing something. And he'd get home. It's cocktail hour. It's like, okay, we go get a gin. What do you want? Gin, vodka, always have everything. Let's do something different today. Let's have an old fashioned today.
Ooh.
And so we have cocktails. So after the holiday, I'm like, okay, no more happy hour during the week.
Let us know if you're listening in. If you took some time off for the holidays. Thank you so much for listening in, by the way, and sharing the love for this show. We came back with a bang. Yes. And we're ready to rock and roll for the new year. By the way, if y'all haven't seen the show before, our little our motto is, right? Is that slogan motto? What is it?
Yeah.
Like this, the show is about, we talk a little bit of insurance and a lot of everything else. Yes. So if you've never seen the show in the last 2 years, know that we'll sprinkle in insurance and stuff.
Today we talked a lot about insurance.
We talked a lot about insurance today.
Yeah, so don't get used to that because it usually will not happen every week.
For the next month, we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
So if you're a senior, just we try to. So if you haven't followed us on YouTube, go to the Medicare space on YouTube, and we're going to be putting a lot more educational content out there. And if you're an agent, we're creating a new YouTube channel called the Producer Boost channel, and we'll be rolling those podcasts out here very, very soon.
Oh, didn't you know? Did you know? Remember, we're installing the Did You Know corner.
Did you know?
Every show you're gonna do it. Did you know?
Yes, did you know? Okay, well, man, you just put me on the spot. Did
you know that I didn't know?
Did you know? No. Well, I'll give you some time to think about it. It's actually kind of sad. We were talking about it before the show. Elvis Presley's daughter died.
Oh no.
Yeah, she was the only
54.
Super cardiac arrest. Cardiac arrest.
Oh, poor thing.
Super sad.
That is, and you're going to Graceland next week.
Mhm.
I wonder if it's
Thursday.
going to be really, really
I
packed due
know.
to that. Maybe there's probably a memorial or something.
Yeah.
Something's probably going to go on.
super
Yeah, it's sad. And she just lost a son about almost 2 years ago to suicide. So
yeah.
I'm sure that was a heavy burden on her.
Yeah.
You know, constant.
Yeah. Did you know? I don't know. I don't have a did you know?
Well, next show we could do
Well,
that.
next show we're gonna have a
Okay.
did you know. We're gonna try
Yeah.
to do did you know? Okay. I kind of like that. Did you know?
Did you know?
You
Isn't
should,
there
you
a
should have a
song?
little like music so people know what
Yes.
Oh,
Did you know?
I like
They
that.
can give us a did you know?
Do you guys have any did you knows for us?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be insurance related. Like we were playing. Me
Don't
and my
hit me
my
again,
wife were at the
ever.
bar the other. When we were at, we took our dogs to this little.
It was Mila's birthday.
It was Mila's birthday last Friday.
How did you forget about your child?
Did you know it was Mila's birthday last week? Did you know that we have a new child?
It's
Oh, that's right.
Tommy.
You need to post. Well,
little
you
jingle
post,
too.
but you know,
Did you know?
Tommy.
Did you know? Yeah, so now we have 2 children, and he is so my wife wanted a new child, and she's like been wanting a new baby, right? And so she's like, I want a boy that he's gonna be so cut because Mila's not very affectionate. She like is a little bit affectionate, but she's not like overly affectionate. And so she's like, I
her mom. She's
want-
like you.
like me.
She's thinking.
Yeah,
And we're
yeah.
talking
It's like,
about you.
No, I said,
We're
"Carlisle's very
talking
affectionate."
about you.
Yeah. So she wanted a dog that was very affectionate and like needy, and she's like, I just want him to be needy and this, and now he is, and she's like, oh my god, Tommy, you're so like,
Be careful what you ask for. Huh?
Yes.
yeah.
I wonder if it's the female because that's the way Lulu's not very affectionate. And before her, I had a female the same way, and Grace. And Will is like, oh my God, he loves the hugs and the kisses. He sleeps right next to me, right here.
We're talking
sits
about
right
dogs,
here,
by the way, guys.
you know? So maybe it's the male dogs are more
Could be.
affectionate.
Could be. Well, we are done, guys. It
That
is
was
the
quick.
11th o'clock hour. I am so glad that you guys showed up. Hopefully, Sylvia's not going to be here next week, so me and Adriana will be holding down the fort. But join us at 10 a.m. every Friday at Central Standard Time. And if you didn't get to watch the whole show, be sure to go back and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Medicare Space is pretty easy. Pretty much follow us everywhere at the Medicare Space: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. We're everywhere at the Medicare Space until we can't be anymore due to compliance. I don't know if we'll ever have to change our name, but we'll change it to something close.
else.
Something, yeah. It'll be
Something
else.
cool.
It'll be
Something,
just something else.
It'll just be. It'll still be
It'll
us.
still be us.
And also don't forget the new Producer Boost channel is going to be coming out. We're going to be releasing that soon. We got some of our friends like Emily Trevino, Rebecca Davis, Matt Temin. I know we got a lot of few other people that have already done the show that we're going to be putting out that content that you definitely don't want to miss from them because they're awesome people.
Mhm.
But if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, if you need help with insurance, if you're looking to be a joint, if you're looking to become an agent and you're not already an agent, or maybe you are and you're not, you want to learn technology, you want to get more on the digital side of things, we might be a good fit for you.
Or do you know somebody?
Or if you
Do
know somebody.
know?
We primarily work in Texas, so if you know anybody in Texas, let us know. We're always looking for great people to join our team. We don't just take on anybody, however, if we're not a good fit, I always recommend to our friend agencies out there locally. So just keep that in mind. But anything else that you guys want to add before we get going? Happy birthday, Stephanie, again. Happy birthday to all the people that have birthdays in
Yes.
January.
In January.
I know my wifey is coming up soon too. Valerie's
Valerie?
birthday is next week.
Mhm.
We'll wish her a happy birthday while you guys are in Nashville.
Yeah,
Y'all better be watching the car.
I will.
Y'all better be watching the
Yes.
car, and we'll bring y'all on, and y'all will be in y'all's little
There you
road
go.
trip.
That sounds good.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. We will see you on the next show. Not Merry
Merry
Christmas. Happy
Christmas.
New Year.
Yeah, happy New
And
Year.
Happy
have
New Year.
a kick
Ass. Oh.
year.